Everybody have a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second for approval. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on claims for June 4th, 2018.
Claims this evening are $1,763,505.85.
And the debt service is the one that's increasing it so much?
Correct. We have two things that is the reason that's the 1.7 million. The first is debt service for $886,000, $307.68. That's a debt service payment that we paid for one of our notes. And then we made a partial payment on our platform truck or ladder truck and engine or pumper for $538,000.
So we paid off a note for the 886?
One of it was two notes. One of them was paid off, yes.
Very good.
Not paid off early, but per the schedule.
Move we approve claims for 1.763, 505.85.
Second.
Got a motion second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on regular operators licenses.
Tonight, you're asked to recommend approval of 22 regular operator licenses on file in the city clerk's office, contingent on payment of any outstanding debt owed to the city and successful completion of the background check for the period June 5th, 2018 to June 30th, 2020.
Move to approve the regular operator's license.
Second.
Got a motion and second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on temporary operators licenses.
Tonight, you're asked to recommend approval of 10 temporary operator licenses to David Hunn, Darlene Hunn, Helen McCombie, Jessica Jensky, Scott Cameron, Holly Schultz, Jerry McKenzie, Tracy Jenkinson, Ronald Jensky, and Ryan Schwewaller for Hudson Booster Days from June 28, 2018 through July 1st, 2018.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on taxi cab license for a taxi Hudson. Is it a taxi? Hudson Taxi? Is that the name?
A taxi / Hudson Taxi.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on amusement device licenses.
This is for Mendota Valley Amusements and 9 of their games contingent on payment of any outstanding debt owed to the city and completion of the background check for the period July 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on Class B beer and liquor licenses for Detail Enterprises LLC doing business as Milwaukee Burger Company. Sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, state your name and address, please.
Matt Letness of 5805 Emerson Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'm one of the owners, partners of Milwaukee Burger Company that's looking at the old Shanghai bistro spot up on the hill there. We are a family-run business. My dad and my uncle have been in the restaurant business since 1975. And then my brothers and I now are in the business, the family business, with my dad. We have 10 locations. This would, if approved, this would be the 11th. And our Milwaukee Burger brand is bread and butter. We have 5 of those in Wisconsin. We have them in Eau Claire, Wausau, Appleton, Franklin, and Kenosha, or Pleasant Prairie, sorry. And so, since we're Twin Cities residents, we've been eyeing, and that's our Wisconsin brand. It's only for Wisconsin.
Have you closed on the purchase of the property?
It's a lease.
Okay. So you're not buying the property outright?
No. We would prefer to own it, but the owner of the building does not want to sell. So we have a lease agreed upon, but that's it. So this was the next big step.
I'll move we approve the license
Second.
All right, I just have to say, I think that we need to be taking a more serious look at what we're doing with our liquor licenses here, given that we don't have any. And I don't particularly like the idea that you have an establishment that goes out of business and it's just perfunctory now that all of a sudden the entity that wants to buy or lease that space is automatically going to get that liquor license. We've got three entities out there that we know of that are on a waiting list for a liquor license. And I really think that that this council, if not tonight, we need to be looking at our policy about just grandfathering in a liquor license to an establishment when we've got other businesses that have been here for some time. And I would again make the case for the movie theater, because they have serious competition across the border that could put them out of business, and they're paying us $250,000 a year in taxes, and without any consideration of those people on that waiting list, we are about to award somebody a liquor license that just walks through the door and says, I'm going to get a lease on a building that already has a liquor license that's about to expire at the end of this month, and we're just going to rubber stamp that. I really think we need to take a look at this policy.
Can I just make a comment about that comment? Liquor licenses, there is no first come, first serve type. Just, you don't have to grant it to anyone who walks in the door. It's within your discretion based on ordinance qualifications and the criteria in your ordinance. Similarly, there is no provision in the state law for a waiting list. It's up to people who want licenses to apply for licenses. But with respect to the situation here, you're not required to simply grant it because someone has applied for it. And if you believe that there are other entities that may also be interested in it, or may also better fit the criteria the city has adopted in its ordinance, meaning employees, there's like 4 or 5 factors that the council can consider in granting liquor licenses. So I just wanted to make that comment. There's no provision for an actual waiting list. Similarly, it's not on a first come, first served basis under state law. You have discretion to decide how you want to handle it.
If we were to put together a policy, would we want to formalize it into an ordinance, or?
Well, your ordinance right now lists criteria on which to evaluate liquor license applications. The city also has an ordinance regarding, well, and this may fit, I haven't looked at the actual license application. If the liquor license becomes available in connection with the sale or transfer of a sale of a presently licensed business, then our ordinance requires, first of all, publishing notice, but that is an exception to the notice provision. However, that doesn't keep people from coming in and applying for a liquor license when they know a business has gone out of business. It just removes that affirmative obligation on the part of the city to publish notice of license availability. So that's how the city has handled it in the past. But all I'm saying is that you don't have to grant a license just because someone comes in and applies. Similarly, there is no right in terms of a waiting list. What you need to do is look at your ordinance criteria in terms of jobs, I believe property values, similar, well, let's just look.
It's worked well in the past. It needs some tweaking, and maybe the mayor could expand on what's happening in Madison in regards to where we've been with our representatives trying to push for more license availability.
So, and this has nothing to do with
That's
Milwaukee
all right.
Burger. You walked into a problem that we've had here for some time. We have no liquor licenses available. And we have looked at, and I think this is an important thing that we revisit, is that we have actually looked at and talked with our surrounding municipalities because the ordinance or the state statute allows for us to go out and purchase liquor licenses from contiguous municipalities, and they then become ours. Troy, at one time a year ago, had offered up a liquor license to give us an additional license for $50,000. Town of Hudson offered us a liquor license for $100,000. All right. The people that had expressed an interest at that time a year ago in getting liquor licenses balked at that number. All right. The businesses weren't, the liquor coming from that license could not justify that expense for those organizations, those businesses.
Sure.
But here we go again. If we're going to just grant this liquor license, that's without any discussion at all. Again, bringing those people in and saying, you know, by the way, there's possibility for a liquor license available again. And it also means that your organization gets to automatically be granted a liquor license because one is there in that building without having to be considered one of those people that would be paying that $50,000 or $100,000 for a liquor license. Sure. I just don't think that that's helpful to the people that have been trying to secure a liquor license from us for a couple years. Relative to Madison, it's my understanding that the gentleman that is in charge of overseeing all liquor licenses, the committee that he chairs, he is a current or former bar restaurant owner and is also a former president of, chairman of the Wisconsin Tavern League, which is an organization that fights liquor licenses everywhere throughout the state of Wisconsin because for competitive reasons, supposedly. And so the likelihood right now of getting a liquor license coming out of that committee is very small. And we have got to be very judicious in what we do with these liquor licenses. And again, like I say, you know, I'm most concerned about our movie theater because every movie theater that is their direct competition across the border has a full liquor license, not just beer and wine. And they're in a situation where they're kind of caught legally because the state statute would allow for us to grant them a beer and wine license, but for the fact that they are not incorporated here. And without it being incorporated in Wisconsin, they can get a beer license, but they can't get a wine license. Go figure. But I mean, so there's a lot that's going on with this issue, and I really think that we need to take a deep breath and pause on this for a moment and figure out what we're going to do, because again, if we grant this liquor license, we have one liquor license now that's available. And if we grant this, it puts the other people back in the same position they were before, where they're going to have to, if they want one, they're going to have to pay up in order to get it. And you get to avoid all that.
Right.
So I've got a few questions. Do your other locations for Milwaukee Burger have full liquor licenses?
They do. We have all of them. Yep, all 10 of our restaurants do.
Okay. And you're incorporated in Minnesota?
We're incorporated in Wisconsin.
You are?
Yep.
So would a beer and wine license be adequate for your needs, or do you feel
we
that
need a full liquor, yeah. Yeah, for us to come here, we need a full liquor license.
What's the capacity or the seating capacity? 400?
What's that?
400?
No.
300 is the statute.
Oh, 300? Okay, well, 300 then.
No, seating capacity 140, I think.
Yeah.
It's pretty small.
See, 300 would give you an exemption from, you get it statutorily.
Yeah, I don't think we can get 300 seats in there unless we take out the kitchen, but.
Well, that's my opinion. I think it's nothing that I expect this committee to resolve right now. But I think that as I think all of our council members are here listening to this. I think that everybody understands the issue, and presuming this gets passed on to the full council this evening, I would hope that the council would take a serious look at this. Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Motion's approved. Thank you. Discussion and possible action on renewal of alcohol licenses for the period of 7/1/2018 to 6/30/2019.
So you actually have 41 licenses that are before you. There is a license for River Valley Hospitality in that list. That should not have action taken on it this evening. You should wait until the next council meeting to take action when they can appear, because that license needs another timely extension request and possible granted. So, okay.
Move we approve minus the River Valley, what'd you call it? Hospitality.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on temporary Class B wine license for American Cancer Society.
You can go ahead. The event is on June 22nd, 2018.
Did this come to public? I didn't see this in public safety, whether it needed to go there or not.
It's just all taking place within the park. It's not crossing, running in streets or anything like that. It's all within Lakefront Park.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Authorization to begin recruitment process for Director of Public Works and Parks position.
Is there any interest in splitting this back to where it used to be, Public Works Director, Parks Director, or has it been working fairly well? Cost savings? It's a question.
Tom, did you have any comment on that? Did he walk away? I was wondering why I couldn't see you back there, Tom. Any thoughts?
I think that over the last 10 years, the responsibilities and the workload for one person is it gets times when it's very difficult. I believe that with the workload and the 13 parks and the mileage of streets and other activities throughout the city certainly would warrant having a director of parks and public works. Seems like we're scrambling. We're scrambling all the time. So that would be your decision, but I would think that during your process that you certainly should consider that.
Well, I would think that thank you, Tom. I would think that we would consider that, but Brenda, what's that add to the budget?
It would add, I'm just thinking approximate, about $65,000 in our 18 budget. That's
It's
just,
possible to come up with some numbers. I'm fine with approving to go ahead and start looking. I'll make that a motion.
Okay.
But I would like to further the discussion on splitting it and if it's something we can afford at this point.
okay, and we can do that, and then is your motion to start recruitment on a Public Works Director or a Public Works Parks Director?
Both for now.
Both for now, okay.
I'll second.
Got a motion, a second. So yeah, if we get numbers, so about 65 just for 2018 and then 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so obviously something to consider as we are about to embark on budget
Yep.
stuff, so something to be keeping in mind. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on appointment of interim city clerk and authorization to begin recruitment for city clerk position.
Well, I'm assuming we're appointing Mr. Willie, the acting clerk, for a time that we get so find somebody else. So I guess we move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on reallocation of capital funds for engineering services in the letter of engagement for Hagan Street Trail improvements.
Thought you said you weren't going to talk tonight.
A little bit more. So at the May 31st Public Works Committee meeting, we talked about pathway project on Hagan Street. On the north end, it would start from Crestview Drive and go to Hanley Street. This area has comforts of homes on the north end, Prairie Point, condominiums in the center, and on the far south end, they have St. Croix Village Apartments. The path is in poor condition. We are going to do some work on it, some crack filling, maybe some seal coating. It's just beyond that. So we would like to consider or get approval to get this pathway reclaimed, ground up, reclaim it. Along with any new construction, we have to upgrade our pedestrian ramps to the current codes. So that'll be included. We're asking that some of the monies that were in the sidewalk improvement be transferred over for this job. I would believe that it's very similar as sidewalks and walking paths, but the estimated construction cost is roughly $90,000. The engineering is about $17,000. We do have a letter of engagement for that. So we're pretty close to the current funds available. So if we do get this passed tonight to move forward with a letter of engagement for the design and we'd like to have portions of it maybe do halfway and get as a base bid, and then from point B to C, then that'll be an alternate in case the bids come in too high and we only can do half the project. So that's it. We're just looking for approval to reallocate funds for this project. If approved and we do the process, we'd advertise for bids June 18th, open bids July 12th, council award contracts July 16th, and construction would be in August, September. And like I said, we have had several complaints. There's a lot of people from Comforts of Homes that use that walk path with walkers and wheelchairs, and also the Prairie Point has a lot of people in it. It's a thoroughfare to Montcroy Street, which is Anderson Park also.
Would this be out of the scope of adding Catherine to a change order to Hanley to,
Well, how much
once they have
is
the equipment already out for blacktopping?
Well, it depends on how much you're talking.
I'm sorry?
Do you have any idea of how much you're talking in terms of total cost?
90,000. We're just estimating it. We haven't got the bids yet, but just rough costs are about 90,000. And the other thing would be, Randy, I see your point, but this is a smaller 8 or 9 foot trail, and it's going to reclaim it. It's a lot of different machinery involved with that. Then
so
the concrete part of it would be okay, yes, but
all right.
Machinery on the asphalt part of it is totally different.
So are you saying it's different type of work and materials and equipment and so
Different
forth?
equipment, the asphalt's asphalt,
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, it's smaller equipment than having a big miller that's going to be out there on Hanley Road in the next day or so,
Yeah.
or next week or so, I should say. I could check, otherwise a
I'd say
change order.
Probably, well, what's the size of the Hanley Road construction project?
Tom, is Hanley Road, is that 800,000?
I believe so.
I think by statute, I think it's change orders are limited to 5%, is it?
That's what I thought.
possibly? So
That's a
it's
question.
not automatic. You'd have to really look at it, whether it's worthwhile and whether it's doable under the
Yeah, but if it's the
statute.
wrong size equipment, it's
Yeah, it's probably not, it should be separately done.
because you could save money on When they all have the equipment already here?
Yes,
What's that
absolutely.
word, whatever they say, so.
Yeah, the concrete part of it would be all right, but like I said, the milling machine or the reclamation thing, I think is a smaller unit, and the pavers are smaller also.
And there's nothing else in the city that would warrant $90,000 worth of, that you think would be a priority? I guess that's a loaded question.
Absolutely. Good question. In fact, that's why I would recommend that we go with a base bid and an alternate.
Okay.
You know, if it gets too close, generally, like we have in the past, as you all know, for our sidewalk program, we do some tear out and removal. And then we also have another process we do where we grind concrete. If a little bit is raised up from a frost heave or a root or something like that, we can actually grind the sidewalk without removal and replacement. And so I'd like to save a little bit on that. I don't want to use it all up. So
Right.
good question. So we just have to wait till the bids come in.
Okay, I'll move we approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on letter of engagement with Bolton and Mink for preliminary design for Vine Street Improvement Project, 9th Street to Wisconsin Street.
Another topic at the May 31st Public Works meeting was to discuss letter of engagement to get preliminary plans and design for the Vine Street project that's scheduled for 2019. That project is from 9th Street up to the new high school, Wisconsin Street. Just because of the scope of the job, we need to get going on surveying, televising, things. We'd like to get going on that so we have a better handle on having an early start, seeing that that's going to be right where, the school buses are going to need to get an early start next spring to have it done before school starts. So we'd like to get moving first, sooner than later on this one. Also, as on the issue sheet, we were very fortunate to get, we applied for 2 grants and we received both of them. The MSID grant for the amount of $486,784 was very big. And also the local county LRIP grant for roughly $17,000. So $500,000 is pretty easy to take. It'll come in very good.
I'll move we approve, but I would like to have our engineering fees on our next finance agenda reviewed. Seems these things are creeping higher and higher.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, got a motion second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion and possible action on letter of engagement with SEH for MS4 documentation.
So that leads us right into another engineering fee. So with that said, at the meeting, Public Works meeting on May 31st, we discussed the engineering services for MS4 documentation. There's several items that we need to get completed for MS4 and also for our grant that we have an extension on. The scope of the projects in the packet. Some of the tasks are municipal stormwater pollution prevention, and that's called, the acronym is a SWIP program at our 2 city land or garages. They come in and do a survey on that, see where we're sitting for stormwater up there. We have a stormwater management plan, which is items like maintaining storm ponds, which is always a big issue that it keeps coming up all the time. So that'll be great to have that. Public education that we're working on, public involvement, illicit discharge elimination, construction, pollutant control program, additional programs, and some additional stormwater mapping. So we're looking at $27,400 to get that going, with funding to come from the stormwater utility fund.
And this is in the 2018 budget in stormwater utility, or in MS4, the MS4 budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion second to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved. Discussion possible action on
Thank you.
Jarvis lease. Thanks, Tom.
We have the Jarvis lease included in the packet for you, and in 2018, that fee can be reviewed, and we would like to know as staff if you would like us to review that fee and any direction that you want us to move forward with that.
It doesn't need to be approved tonight, but because we can ask for a review from staff and then have it come back.
Correct.
I will move to do that.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and second for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved. Items for future agendas, the one thing that Randy had mentioned, a discussion on
Engineering fees.
engineering fees, fee creep. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion's approved. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody. We'll take just a couple minutes to get everybody situated.